G'day, it's Abby Dave, and this is day 2 in building applications, micro apps using Replit. And what we're going to be doing today is looking at the second application in the series. And yesterday what we did was we built this application, which is managing all the different apps that I want to build over 30 days. So the next one we're going to do is the video recording named sequence application. It's in progress, but let's have a quick look at what we did yesterday. So if we clear the statuses, we can see that we've got this little application where we can import information for different apps that we want to build, set the status, so the one we're looking at right now has currently been built, and from there we've got concepts like categories, etc. So if we look at the things that are an idea, or is it a utility, we've got the tool that we're looking at right now, we've got the one that we're about to do, it's currently in progress, and I've got a couple of new ones coming down the line. So what is it? Build your own smart video file name system. So let's just have a quick look at the reference card that I set up. The idea of the application that we're doing today is for content creators, or it's for any content creator, video creation expert, but the skills that I'm demonstrating, or basically learning, because this is not me showing you how to do things, this is you going with me through the process, I document as I go, is how can you create a custom tool to solve one of your business workflows. And one of the big business workflow problems I have is how do I name the recordings in my folder when I hit save. So what we're going to do here is look at the issue of messy file names. We're going to build up a requirements document, because what I'd love to be able to do is head over to the agent part of Replit, which is over here on the right, and I just want to type in one prompt and have it build the entire application. It doesn't always work, but that's the goal. So we'll be building it, and then we'll do a little bit of a recap and think about the next project idea. Now I'm going to give you, mainly because I think it makes sense with this particular application, I'm going to show you the next project idea. And what we'll do is we'll just jump down to a VS Code view for a second. And what I've got here in front of us is a list of applications that are in that tool we just did, and I'm just going to add one. It's called the YouTube chapter builder, and the reason I think this one is important is because when you're naming your files for a video, which is what we're going to do today, it's important that hopefully you can automatically build chapters for YouTube descriptions. So what I'm going to do is head over to our application, just demonstrate what happens when we import everything. So currently I'm hoping to see a new item here. Now sometimes this bugs out, so if we have problems I may abandon this, but we'll see what happens. So we'll just paste it in. And what's happening is the new value is in there somewhere. Actually, can I see it? It's up the top. And we now have a video chapter builder. It's a utility. Now, if we go down to utilities, we now have a fifth one. It's that one. So tomorrow, I'll probably change it to in progress, or it'll happen later in the month. We'll just see what happens. Live stream planner. And this is a video I did recently. And in this video, there are a bunch of recordings, and this is what we would like to do today. So whenever I record a video, I'm using Ecamm Live. You could be using Camtasia. And one of the problems that happens when you record parts of a video with these tools is that they bring things down as a timestamp. In fact, let's go have a look at that for a second. So the video that we're watching right now will end up in this folder, and I've already done a proof of concept that it records, and we can see it right here. So when I tested a few seconds of footage, it created a file, and we can see that it's called Ecamm Live, recording on the date and time. So I did this a couple of hours ago, I think. Now, when I record videos, they end up in this folder, in that sort of format. But what I want to do is see them named correctly. And I've got this sequence that I use. So chapter 1, the first part of chapter 1 is the intro. Chapter 1, the second part, intro, is really what chapters are in there. And if this was done correctly, this would have been named as intro chapters, because the actual chapter name is intro, but there's a section within the intro where I just want to tell people about the chapters that are coming up. Then after that, I move into a scenario, and I like to record things in segments. I don't use a teleprompter, but I also don't record too many mistakes. I try to do things in small batches and get it right. And then at the end, I join all my videos together. Now, the reason this is also important to understand is that if you want to build your own application, and we are going to build the application that name these today, you might actually have a different workflow. And if you have a different workflow, you will want to build the application slightly different. But this is how we're going to do it, because this is how I use it. So at the end of recording a long video, in this case I've got about 40 odd files, 3.5 gigabytes of data, and I join them all together in a product called Gling. Gling is an AI video editor. Again, I'll put a link down below for that. Let's move into it. So I think what we now need to do is pop on over to our reference card, where I've been keeping a whole lot of information in a chat window about what we want to build. And I'll put the YouTube description there, but let's just go. Can you give me the detailed fact sheet again about what application I actually decided we were going to build? And so this is hopefully going to give me the right information. Okay, this is not correct. I have a lot of experience in prompt engineering, and still ChatGPT can come into problems. And it's basically, I was testing out an idea this morning, and the idea is that I usually keep these two chats separate. I keep the requirements that I'm trying to build separate from the video planning, and I didn't do it. And that's, I thought, I wonder whether this would work okay. And the answer is no, it won't work okay, because it kept trying to mix the two concepts in. All I wanted at this point was to know about this information. But anyway, let's move into what we're actually trying to build today. So an application designed to build structured file names for video recording segments. Now, can we see the folder at the same time? Yes, we can. Recordings of intros, intro with a metadata of chapters, scenario, benefit with a metadata of 1, 2 benefits with the second benefit with 2 sections named 2. And we've got different concepts going down here. So what I need is an automated file name generator. That's the application we're building. Creates file names in the format chapter, part, label, metadata. So when we look at, say, let's just find a new one. We'll go here. The chapter is number 6, part 1. The actual label would be scenario 2. Actually, in this case, it'd probably be the whole thing. Scenario 2, Project Theodore. But it could be that the label is scenario 2 and the metadata is Project Theodore. And it's up to me what field I'm going to use for that. Where I usually love using metadata is just indicating that this part of the video might actually have a call to action in it. That can be really useful. And the reason this becomes useful as a video content creator is that that's a part of the video where you actually want to go and add some extra graphics that are not part of the normal recording in my scenario. Now, what we need to do in the application is maintain a list of applications. We need to be able to do a bulk update on the actual label name. So if I don't like scenario 1, I might want to call it cool scenario, but I've got to change it in bulk across multiple. What I want to do is that as a new name comes through the application, I just want it to live in my clipboard, because then I can come over and just change the file name. So the application we're building is in the web, and the files we're using are on the desktop. So I don't have a way of easily connecting the two concepts together without building a more complex application. So I've decided that I only want to use the clipboard to get the next name. Now, I don't want to actually have to press a button. I want to have an auto clip mode thing on. So as soon as it comes up with one, it should end up in the clipboard. But I might actually have information in the clipboard that I want, so I should be able to toggle that feature off. And I want to make sure that the bulk change doesn't trigger auto copy, because the clipboard can only deal with one piece of information anyway, so it doesn't make any sense. I've also stated that a transcript field would be useful, and the reason for this, if you're a content creator, you realize that there's a lot of rich information in what you record. So I think as an example, let's just pop in over here for a second. You can see here in this particular video, there's a green screen behind me, and what I like to do, if I just head over to Leonardo, is I like to generate B-roll automatically. So how can we do that with this? We go to the library and we scroll down quite a way because I've been doing a lot of other stuff, and quite often like this would have been talking about Appy Dave in like and subscribe. So this would have been part of the outro, these sorts of images along here. And where I really want them to show up is just in this green area right here. So what I would love as part of my video recording process is that if the video ends up on the disk like it does, it automatically gets the transcript, and then we're going to make it available in this transcript field. And with it there, I can then do new stuff like generate the prompts that we just saw for the video. So you can, if we look here, each of the prompts for this, whatever's in there, is actually built off a part of a transcript. So anything else we need to do? Ensure consistent, well, we've got the purposes. Now yesterday in the first video in the series where we built the first application, what I did was I had a requirements document. So if we come back to here, much of this application, the way you see it, was built off the very first prompt. So it had concepts like importing all the data for the application. It had concepts like categories. All of this got built automatically. The bulk import. Now, it still took me a few iterations in the video and maybe about 10 afterwards to actually get it to the point where it is right now. And there are bugs in it. There's a few bugs in this particular application, but generally it's working the way I need it to at the moment. And the idea of this is, how do you build tools for your business quickly and efficiently? And this literally, if you thought about it if you took away the live stream, took me about half an hour. If you add in the debugging, took me about 60 to 90 minutes to build this. So today what we're going to do is we are going to, I think we'll just go back to the home page, and we want a prompt that will go in there to build the sort of application I just described. So let's head here and have a look at a template that I used yesterday. Now, this is a template for a requirements specification. So what are we going to call the name? What's it do? Who's it for? What are the basic features? How should it work? Are there any third-party integrations? What should it look like? And special instructions. Now, I will talk about this for a second. I don't think these worked correctly yesterday. And this is what I'm trying to learn as I use Replit, is what works and what doesn't. Because I said to do this, but a lot of the debugging I had to do would have been easier if I actually had console logging, and that's actually what I've asked for here, but it didn't happen. So I'm not sure what's going on there. But what we'll do is we will take this micro app requirements and we'll put it there. This is just our template for now, so we'll leave that right there and we'll come over to here. And we'll say, I'm going to give you a template for a requirements document. You must adhere to this template, and the goal is to merge the application summary that you're displaying just above with this template. One of the things that maybe the template is missing is just how strict it is to adhere to the debugging, because when I went to build the application, there wasn't enough debugging information in the console log. So as you build out the template based on this application we're going to build, also consider that point, and we paste it in. So what I'm hoping to do is get this template here merged with this data here, and taking into account that point that I just mentioned, pop it in and see what we get. And if this is good, we're going to get a one-shot prompt that we can use in Replit. So the application is the video file namer. Application generates structured file names for video recordings and templates, provides clipboard management, and allows users to automate name. Okay, so this is a representation that has file names stored in clipboards. so that the user can go and change the file name themselves on whatever computer or system they like. Please make sure you make this clear in the requirement document. So before we press enter on that, we'll just see if there's anything else that it got wrong. So if you want to keep your costs down, you need to keep the application quite simple. It may actually be too complex at the moment. I'm still trying to figure out where the sweet point is. And don't introduce stuff that's going to cause you grief, right? I don't want it doing file copying. It's a web application. It can't copy files. So we do that. Organize the following structure to allow users to automate file name generation. It's not copy files and manage metadata efficiently. Content creators, developers, entrepreneurs. Okay, sounds good. Features. Yep, okay. Sequential. There's a next part. So how do we go to the next segment or part in the chapter? How do we go to the next chapter? Metadata handling. Users can append. Yep, great. File tracking means the history, because I may want to go back and change things. I might want to go back and do a new copy, stuff like that. Bulk label upsert. Yep, great. Clipboard integration, manual copy button. So generally I shouldn't need to use this because hopefully I'm going to use the auto clipboard mode, but you might just want to go back to a previous one and press copy. We should be able to turn off the global copy and bulk handling. Nice. Does yeah, beautiful. That's good. Now it's going to build UX requirements. I don't want that because I'm using Replit, and whether you're using Replit or V0 or anything like this, they have their view of how to do stuff. If I wanted to do this, I'd have an actual separate workflow just around the UX. And I would use a tool designed for doing UXs. So maybe I'd use V0. I've only used it once, so I don't know, and I don't know the other tools that are out there. But this is an area that I hope to explore in the following 30 days, because building the applications is one aspect, but if you want to get them really right, you want to get a good user experience as well. So I'm just wondering, I can leave that there. There's nothing too specific. It's quite general in its name, and enters a chapter name. Okay. So what we're going to do is just copy from here all the way through to, do I need that? And we'll head over to here and we will start building. So I've just pasted everything in and we click the start building button. So what are we doing? Let me propose what we're going to build. And as usual, initial prototype in Shad CN UI. This is some sort of component library for React. Would you like cloud storage, export, import, multiple, and bulk? No, I don't. So I just wanted to go and create this application. So agent encountered an error. I had this yesterday. So, and it gave me a bit of anxiety because I'm in a live stream. I do not need this shit while running. We're in the issue. That doesn't help me. I'm in a live stream. I may need to end the live stream prematurely, but if I do, I'll do a part 2 where I complete the application. So far, what have we done? We've talked about the challenge that we're trying to solve, and we've gone and create a requirements document. And the good thing about the requirements document, I will talk about that a little bit while we approve this plan, is that it doesn't specify tech stack technology. And the reason this is important is because, let's get away from that, it's giving me the shits. The reason that's important is that these AI pair programming tools, they like to do it their own way. They make these statements that you can build any sort of application you want because they might be using Claude or OpenAI under the hood. But they put guardrails too to try and steer you in a certain direction because they've done specific training around this. So if you specify a technology like C# or Ruby or Tailwind CSS and they're not doing Tailwind CSS, or Vue.js and they don't really know how to do it, Claude or OpenAI will do a good attempt, but it won't be a great one. So you really got to not specify the technology at the moment. So I think we are stuck. I'm just trying to run this one more time. We'll come back over here and it is broken. One of the things that we talked about here, if we go down to our folder view, which is right here, is that this is a format of files that I use for my Appy Dave channel. So I'm just going to bring up Appy Dave. So whenever I'm doing a video, most of these take me 20 to 30 hours of work, and I have a video that includes a video editor in the process who does some of the work. And it's really hard And it's not the way I want to do things, it's just the way it is. And what's really important though is that if I want to cut down on my video editing time, that everything I record is quite correct. And then what I need to do is I need to not just have them sequentially, because I need to maybe go back and change one. And if I don't have a name, that's a bit of a problem. Now you might not be recording videos that way, and that's where we can go and have a look at other channels. So if we go to Appy Dave Research, which we're on right now, now when that one gets recorded, we will only have one file. So the naming conventions for this particular system is totally different. All I've got to do is go and figure out what the project name is and just rename it. So if yesterday's was A3801, then today's will be A3802, and it'll be the video file namer. That's what it's going to be. But then I've also got a faceless YouTube channel, which is going gangbusters at the moment. And this has a different workflow again. Now, why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because when we look at the requirements document that we've been building over here, you do need to change it to be what you need. You got to think about your own workflows and put them in. And now this one is specifically for my Appy Dave channel workflow. And if I was to build this application out a little bit further, I might either do multiple micro apps. They're actually easier to do multiple than it is anything else. Now, I'm also going to do one other thing while we're here. I'm just going to take a smaller chunk of this. Let's just go over here and just see if we can get one more attempt. So yeah, if I needed to do one for each of those YouTube channels, that would be generally smarter than trying to make a big app for all these sorts of problems. Like you got problems where agents just aren't working and there's no information to tell you why. So as powerful as these tools are, they are also fragile. That's the right word for them. They're powerful but fragile. A bit like my ego, I guess. What do we got? Build the internal prototype. Started just now. Just joking there, by the way. You know what I'd love to have? When the transcripts are being recorded, ChatGPT tells you how to say something funny but not stupid. That'd be a great goal for me. Wow. We're working. We might be continuing this live stream after all. Now, keep in mind, we're doing it on a reduced instruction set. So maybe that's where the problem was. So I've got the overview, important clarification. I got features and functionality. I didn't go down into this bottom area. We only got to there. So this extra information was not included. None of that was included. Yeah, okay, there's a lot of information not being included, which means stuff like the error handling that I really wanted in the requirements document wasn't there. So here's another thing that I think is interesting and for which I don't have an answer, and that's the question of, is there a custom instruction? If there's a custom instruction that you can run, this is where I would be putting this information, because it's not something I should need to tell it. It's something I want by default every time I build an application. So yeah, that error handling stuff, because it's just something I want every time it writes code for me, I need it in a custom instruction. Created main, video file namer, 600 by 400, that's the min size. Okay, what do we got next? File name manager, add to history, file name, chapter, part, label, meta, timestamp, update the chapter label, old, new, and it's going through all the history entries where the old and turning it to the new. Get the last chapter part. This will be useful when we want to go to the next one. We need to know what the last one is. Then what do we get? A state handler, generate a file name. What's the next part? We don't have a next chapter, we just say new chapter, which is kind of the same thing. Set the label, set the metadata, toggle auto clipboard. This is great. What do we got? UI components, so we can just click on these. Great. Main application, file manager, state handler. Cool. It says the agent is still resuming. It seems to be quite stuck here at the moment. New chapter, update metadata, copy to clipboard, toggle auto clipboard, and show status. This is the other thing I wasn't expecting, I guess. This went straight into Python mode. It did not do it in React. File management, agent, it's just stuck. Can I run it? Let's just do run. What's that doing? Now it's failed, but it's not finished. So we'll come back to assistant this time. It appears that the agent is stopped. you as the assistant, can you tell me whether the application has finished building and what do I need to do to get it running? Because I did notice that there is a console error in the cons. Well, that's implied. Let's run that. Well, we can apply all. Let's see, what's this agent doing? Maybe it's stopped because of that, so we'll come over here. I almost want to come back and do this one more time. We got, oh, look at that. We got an application. Oh, I was in my head, I had this as a web application. And I hadn't thought about the fact that I could run it on my local desktop, which is how it's made it available. This is beautiful. Cool. Okay, label. What are we going to do? Let's come back and just call it intro. Now, is that in the clipboard? No, it's not in the clipboard, because if it was, but I don't think it could work from a web application this way. I don't know how I can test this without running it locally. Okay, cool. Auto clipboard, copy to clipboard. Does that work? No, that hasn't done anything. So we'll just say next part. So now we're on part 3 and we will call it, now we got the intro and we'll call it overview. Great. Now, what we don't have is any list. I cannot see anything going on. But let's go to the next chapter, which should take this to 2, and we should be on number 3. We also don't have a save button. Let's go new chapter. So we will call it scenario. We're on the scenario part of recording the video, and we do not need metadata in this case. And we go new chapter, and we have, so it's not working. So the first attempt taught me something. It taught me that, firstly, realize that I can do desktop applications if I want to, if I just want to stay in, say, a Python environment. The things that I'd been seeing so far in Replit were all about little web applications. That's a cool thing to know. One of the challenges we've had here, so maybe I do need to specify tech stack, but I need to keep it very simple. I don't need to specify what the technology is other than it's a website or a web application. So we got number 3 coming through, shad cn, approve the plan, and it fails again. So it doesn't like this prompt for some reason. Another thing I've never seen or noticed before, there's this little free statement. So if I remember right, you see the 25 cents when something's happened, and this gives you a short indication of what costs are. I think there's also this one, and it's screwing up every bloody time. I'm not going to say I hate you, Replit, but right now I'm not impressed. Okay, so 1 failed, 2 failed, 3 failed. We had one in the middle that worked using Python, but it had a number of problems, but then I also had a reduced requirements document, so it might not necessarily have understood what it needed to do. G'day, welcome back to part 2 of building your own smart file name creator. It's a little tool that we started on yesterday, and I'll give you a recap of where we got to, because this is actually the second application in the 30-day challenge that we're working through. And so yesterday we were doing the perfect file name system, and we ran into a lot of technical problems using Replit. So yesterday we had a requirements document, and one of the things I thought about this morning as I was looking at it is that I've talked about one-shot prompts to build applications in one go, and the idea that the prompt should be relatively compact. It shouldn't do too much. And when I looked through the requirements here, there were a couple of things I wasn't happy with. I had this auto clipboard mode, a global trigger, and a bulk change handling, and I thought this is too much for the first iteration of the application, so I wanted to remove that. When I looked a little bit further and I saw the third-party integrations, I saw just this database concept being put there. When I did my research into Replit, I saw that they had 4 or 5 different types, and that there was a default one, RepLDB. There was one other aspect to this, which we will talk about in a second, is the UX requirements. I thought this is not clear enough or simple enough what we've got here. It's open to interpretation, which is fine, but if I control the narrative on the user interface, then I have the ability to make it as simple as I want. And I believe that when it comes to UXs, I probably need a different tool than Replit to build them initially. So I want to keep it relatively simple. So what I did was I came over to a little chat window. I just had a simple conversation. This is where I worked out that it had a REPL DB. And I also had a little bit of a conversation about how I wanted the user interface to work. And it's come up with essentially a list columns with a bunch of editable fields for the chapter and segment number, the label and the metadata. And something I hadn't thought of yesterday was that the generated file name should show read only. Other than that, I had problems with the way it named the new chapter, but I think next chapter is in keeping because it also implies that the number increments. So I called it that and next part, and then I just gave some simple row actions that I wanted. So these are at the top of the list, these are down below. So I then went and had a look at the template and I improved it slightly. So the main changes is that the information around database and third-party stuff have been removed, and we've just got the database where it'll default to REPL-DB, and we've got the app type which will default to web app if I do not provide it. Otherwise, it's relatively the same. I talked about yesterday the idea of custom instructions or system prompts. I really would like to see this done automatically as part of the code generation. When I did a bit of search on the documentation this morning on Replit, it said it's not available. So I guess we've still got to provide it through the prompt. What did we end up with? We ended up with this new requirements document. Everything's pretty similar except for the slight change here. Everything is in place as per yesterday, but we've reduced information. There's a little bit less. We've got a nice little example of how the files should be created, and we've got this decent little structured UX requirements going on. We've also got special instructions, explainability, error handling. Now I have run this once this morning because, as I said, I had 4 different errors yesterday. I didn't know what to do, and I'll show you where we're at with it. I've only run it once. And the other thing to be aware of is that I'm going to run out of credits before the end of this 30-day challenge. So if you're interested in it, maybe you can use this referral link. What is it? David 10. All that does for me is just give me an extra $10 of credits, which will be handy. Anyway, let's move over to the main view again, and we'll come back to what it built today. Essentially, I just selected all the information that was here. I went from there all the way to the bottom. I didn't include this. This is the actual things that were changed. Replit DB, table-based UI, real-time file name generation, no explicit history implied through the database. So we're doing a list, so there should be a history, and a blank list on load. And I popped it in here, created it. This is exactly where we are. I haven't pressed a button yet, so I don't know what's going to happen after this, but it could be that our live stream finishes right now because we have a complete working app. Maybe not. Okay, so add row. In fact, I can already see that there's a couple of things missing because there were certain buttons that I was expecting above the top. But let's add the row and see what happens. Now, one of the things I haven't paid attention to is database, and I wonder how you see it. All tools. We got database, but that looks like Postgres, so I'm not sure how that's going to work. So I think I'll just add a row and see what we get. We have a new row, and we got the file name, and it's O1 and it's part 1, and let's do it the way I would do. Now that should actually bring us back to what are we trying to do based on yesterday's conversation. So based on conversation yesterday, when I record a video, whether it be with Ecamm Live, which I'm using, or if you're using OBS, or if you're using Camtasia, this is what will happen. You'll end up with these files with a date time sequence, and they each have their own way of doing this. And the problem is this is not very readable. What I like to do is, as I'm recording my segments or parts, I like to create an individual recording like we see here. In this particular video from a week or two ago, I've got 40 recordings. It makes up 3.72 gigabytes of video recording, and I pulled them all into Gling, and that's how I created the video. If you want to use Gling, it's an incredibly powerful text-based editing tool for videos. So you can see here we've got, in the left-hand column, we've got the chapter number. This is how I like to think of things when I'm doing my videos. So the first chapter is the intro. Within it, there are two parts. There's the intro, and then there's the intro with a little bit of metadata. This is where I talk about the timestamps of the video. And then we go on to the next chapter, chapter 2, and we've got a bunch of parts, and well, we've got 4 of them, and this is just all related to the scenario. I don't really have any metadata here. By the way, some of the reasons I don't do enough metadata here is this is a bit tedious and manual, and this is why we're building a tool today. Let's show it with that. And this gives us the ability to see that chapter 1, part 1 should just be an intro. Now, go on really slow. I-N-T-R-O. Now that leads me to suspect that there might be some sort of REST call going on behind the thing. But if we look at the file here, 01-1-intro.move is what we would see here. Now, actually, looks like I don't use the 01. So this is a minor tweak that I might want to change to the application. Now the other thing is we've got a copy button which we haven't tested, and I don't know whether we've got a toast. Let's just go into the web view for a second. I wonder if we can make this bigger so you can see more, and we'll just press the copy button. Okay, now you can't see it, but below my image it said copied file name, copied to clipboard. So that's great. I've added this editable field called the transcript because in a future iteration of this, maybe it'll be one of the apps we build in the next 30 days. I want to be able to take the transcripts and convert them into prompts and other sorts of research tasks. But for now, I'm just going to see if Command V pastes it in. Okay, cool. So that worked. I think if we figure out where I think it's this one, DevTools. So let's go to DevTools and let's go to Network. And can we clear it? And we can. And what we'll do is we'll just add a new row. So far this application is working, but we are missing the next part, which doesn't seem like it's needed. You can just add a new row, and we're missing the next chapter. So maybe it's implying I need to type it in, but let's add a row and see what happens. This is not what I want to see. I really want to be able to go next part and it automatically goes to 2. So we'll make that a 2, and we can see why everything is so slow because we got requests hitting us every time. So let's do a clear NTRO. So we're doing a request back to the server every time something happens, and we go to the metadata, and I called that chapters. So CHAPTERS. Great. So, and it missed the R because it's very slow. Chapters. So I'll press the copy button. It works. Fantastic. So at this point, I don't want to use agents. Every time you use an agent, it'll cost you 25 cents. I think I've just got 3 problems that I need to solve. So let's just bring up this window for a second. 3 simple problems that I have to solve. Can you turn them into 3 different prompts as instructions for the pair programming agent? We need a debounce or something like that on each time that you type. It's hitting the server every time without giving the user any time to type other information, and it's causing massive performance issues. What's the next problem? We have an add row button which works, but we should have had, they essentially do the same thing as the add row button, but they know how to increment either the part or the chapter ID as we go. One final change that might use is that the chapter number should be formatted as a single digit. It's currently formatted as 01. It should just be 1. Put this information in code blocks. Now the reason I'm putting them into code blocks is I just want to be able to click the copy button and take them over, right? So I don't know where I should start. I'm going to start here and press copy. We'll head over to here, and then we've got to find the assistance. We'll click on that. and we'll just paste in the first one. 300 milliseconds sounds good to me. One other change, transcript button does not need, or does it? Because I guess it's saving, right? Yeah, okay. Let's go with that. Let's see what happens. So if we can do it in 3 prompts, it'll end up costing 15 cents. And then if this all worked correctly, we'll have built this application for 40 cents and maybe take about 10 minutes. Now, this doesn't always, generally this doesn't work the way I just said, but not yet. So I think as we go this time, I'm going to be looking at code. So do I click there or there? I assume they both do the same thing. Let's test it. Okay, we've got it on each of them. Apply all. Now we have a running application. No, we have an app crash. And can we see any errors? Not yet, not here. Maybe it just worked. I wonder if we get to know the session, the whole application cost, because currently I've been looking at costs over here. If I do a refresh on this particular page, we'll see the checkpoint costs, we'll see the assistance costs. I can see from the console that there's a port conflict. The server is failing, so that's not a bug in the code. Go to the web view for a second and we'll say it's still going slow. This is the troubleshooting. So what happened to the other chat? So that's done a debug. We're in here, assistant. I'm still having a lot of trouble. I think there's still a bunch of UX issues with this. Oh, look at that. They've got add a database here. This is back in the agents. So I was talking about this yesterday. There's not a unified view between when you're in an agent and when you're in assistant, and not having that kind of, you've got to think in your head, well, where am I and how do I bring this stuff back together? I guess it's because at the moment they've built it in such a way that they think you're either working here or here, and I'm trying to work between the two different systems and it's not that crash hot. So what I'm going to do, this has not been fixed. We'll run it. Just thinking. The bouncing logic is wrapped in use state to ensure, okay, let's preview the code changes. It's done it a different way altogether. Okay, so here it was, I thought that felt really wrong, but okay, we've now got some logic. We'll apply all. So we'll add a row and we'll say, let's just clear this for a second. Intro, still not working. Okay, we are still dealing with technical issues with Replit, but we're dealing with a totally different one. This should have been a simple fix for it. It should have just gone, yeah, I know how to do it. Let's fix it. It looks like it's fixed the code, but it's not working. Still not working. There is a pause every time I type into the field while it hits the server. Maybe you need to fix this, but you also might want to change the timeout to 1 second, because this doesn't need to be incredibly responsive, especially while we're in debug mode. If we get the code working, we can go back and change the timeout ourselves manually. Here's another issue that I wanted the custom instruction for, and I don't think it's in there, is I want detailed logging, because we should be able to see when the key press is happening, as well as when the request is happening. We'll apply it and it's refreshing. So I just need to remember that if it happens, it says, okay, fix the bug about use effect, not defined. Okay. Now, if I'd have used the agent, that probably wouldn't have happened. So that's one of the things that I would believe you're getting with the 25-cent call, is that there's a lot more chain of thought going on into it. Here it's just doing what I said and not considering the implications of what's going around it. So as I learn this, I'm making a supposition there. I don't know for sure. I just believe this is what's going on. Okay, and this is now working. Let's click on it and we'll just type in intro. Hey, awesome. And then the saves happen. Cool bananas. Let's add another one. Now, we haven't done our buttons yet. Now I'll press 2, 1, 2. Yep. and I'll type in, and now I'll try and type it all in one hit. So let's just clear our screen. We'll see what we get. Intro space chapters. I don't think that worked properly. It was faster. Maybe it's just happening in parallel. Okay, well, we'll leave that. So let's test this. This is working. Copy it, and we'll just paste that in. It's updated the database there. Paste that one in. Great. They're working perfectly. Let's add a couple more capabilities. So we've fixed the D bounce. Let's go and paste this one in. Now, again, we got 5 cents. Look at that. That's how you figure it out. So we've used 20 cents and we've used 5, run in shell, refresh. All up, it looks like we got a total cost is 20. So this is going to be more expensive than using the agent if the agent works, right? That's a critical statement. So we're testing the one that goes replace the add row and next chapter with next chapter and next part. That's what we want to do. That should increment the chapter number. That should keep the same but increment the part number. I'll help you replace. Let's just quickly have a gander at the code and see what we got. It says 2. Are they both listed? Yeah, they are. Okay. So add row, bunch of row buttons. Looked good. Wasn't styled nicely, but it looked like it had the right buttons. The next chapter. Excellent. Intro, copy, paste, clear. Next part. Sweet. It should really copy the label down, but that's okay. Intro, chapter. No, screwed up a little bit. Chapters. Copy. Let's come over here for a second. Can you add in another change request? When we go to the next part, which is working correctly, it should actually be keeping the existing label, which is the chapter name. Can you also merge this prompt question with the format chapter numbers without leading zeros? So we'll solve this problem in the next prompt. The next prompt was about turning the 01 into a 1, but I'm also going to potentially fix this problem at the same time. So we come into here, format chapter numbers, preserve the label when adding. So we'll attempt a 2-in-1 scenario, but let's test the one button we didn't do. Next chapter, this should go to 02. It does, and it's 1 for the part, which is perfect. So here I would type in scenario. That's probably in a video. I would do an intro. Then I might do an intro with timestamps, which is chapters. Then I might do a scenario. What are we talking about in the video? The first part of the intro is the hook. So far we're working. Press copy and we test, and we're looking sweet. This is great. Okay, let's copy this information over here. Let's go in here and paste it. So 2 problems that it's trying to rectify. I wonder if I keep going, because this is actually going to be a useful tool for me. And this is where I needed other capabilities. Another capability that I wanted, and that was a checkbox that says auto clipboard. And if it's turned on, the information for the file name should automatically go into the clipboard as I'm updating things. I'm just going to apply. I'm trying to keep things very simple so that it should succeed. It should succeed. You think I wasn't a native English speaker? Can't even say my words right. Okay, next chapter. Let's get rid of this for a second. 1-1. This is looking, but the file name is wrong. Oh no, you did not update the file name code. I wasn't thinking of that. It is still formatting with 2 digits for the chapter. Let's just make that change while we're here. Another 5 cents. Good thing is now that I should have always started from this and just thought of this as a formatting issue, not as a data issue. Don't know why I did that. We'll press apply. Okay, next one, intro, copy. Next part, chapter, oh no, we'll just go with intro chapters. Now if I paste, we have the old one, that's fine. Put in the new one, great. Next chapter. So we'll just go and copy this information. We'll say label observation is not working. When you add a part label. Okay, let's paste that in. And now implement auto clipboard feature is next. So I'm going to make a, well, I'm going to make an assumption that it's going to work. I pressed copy, but press apply, and I copy this information, and I'm going to just get it prepared here. This is the next feature we're doing. One, intro, next part. The code is still not working, and you're also not giving me debug information, so I can't even see the values such as the last row in chapter. So can you give me some better logging, and can you fix this problem? When I'm doing agent workflows for myself, I'm usually doing them around content creation and different stuff, and I have the main agent that does work, and this is what we're doing here. It's like a little agent that's calling stuff, or I've got the main prompt in the workflow, and then I've got other predicate prompts. So a predicate is something true or false, right? And so from that I can go, well, does it have documentation? True or false? And if it doesn't, I can run like enhancement prompts, like can you make sure that the code doesn't change except that we add documentation, or that we add logging. I think is a pattern that we're going to see a lot of in agent workflows, and it's something that they need to put into this. I think just this secondary agents that run after every agent based on what the developer would like it to do. So fixed the missing, let's just press apply. Like if it doesn't work, it'll just have to be. So new, and we go intro, we'll do a clear, next part. If yeah, not working, stupid code. Do we have, yeah, not trying to fix it. I just want one more capability. I can always take it offline and do it. I would like this capability turned on. Yeah, let's see whether that works. So if this works, we should get a new button. You would think that it's a global sort of concept. Does it belong here, or does it belong up the top of the page? When I initially asked for the design, that's what I wanted. And this is again where I would be more inclined to use a design tool, especially something that I could run from GPT to build out the mock before we ever started. Would have made this more predictable. Not better, just more predictable. It's not that these get it wrong. They just don't necessarily do it the way you think about. At the same time, where they can do it better than you is that they have more experience with more code bases than you do. So it can be good from that point of view. Let's apply whatever it did. We may do a rollback. This is almost the end of the session, I think. I will explain one of the main core capabilities I'd love this to have. Look at that. Is that it? It doesn't say anything. Well, let's just go new chapter, intro, paste, day. Can't spell, paste. Ooh, that's cool. Okay, this tool is not complete, but and I will talk about that one capability that I would love it to have. It's a couple of additional buttons, but we're not dealing with it today. Let's look at our total cost. So our total cost is 50 cents. So the live stream today is 40 minutes. I guess it's about 20 minutes of coding time. I'm not working from the idea that I know how to write in React or JavaScript or anything like that. I can look at code and go, yeah, okay, that seems to be doing something, but it's just not an area that I code in on a normal day-to-day basis. If you're a developer, you might see things much more clearly than I do, but if you're more of a business owner, you can see how I'm breaking things down into simplistic prompts. You can check out how I was getting GPT to write simplistic prompts. Now, this is an area I would turn into a workflow, to be honest, because I want to make sure it doesn't do anything too big in this area when you're using the assistant. But the great thing is I got a tool which will save me a ton of time, an absolute ton of time, and it cost me 50 cents. Like, awesome. This is wonderful. Now let's just come back to here and let's show it with the application. What I really want is 2 more buttons up here, which I might do later. What should be able to do, let's look at this folder, open folder in item. We'll just do an LSA. And what we can see is here's all the files that are currently in that folder. Now to clipboard, I can do the ls to clipboard. So if I do that and I press enter, let's put this in here. Now all those files happen to be here. This is the good thing. I want a little button that when I press it will run that command, will give me just that command in the clipboard, right? Now I know it's a PS pipe PB copy. But I just want it to be really easy. So I press the button and it says PS pipe, it says what command will give me all my current videos, and it'll just put PS pipe PB copy into my clipboard. Then I can go down to that folder, run it, and the running of it puts those files into the thing. So like if I just change this, I've got David or ADF here, right? But I'll just run my little command once and then paste it in. I've now got all the files. So you go, okay, one button will get me the list of files essentially without actually reading my computer. I've still got to go down to the computer and run it. The second button that would be here is import. So the way I envisage like keeping this tool in sync with my file system is just run the two buttons. The first one to go get the files. The second one should just repopulate the database with stuff. So as I build out the 30 applications over 30 days, I hope, like it's taken 2 days with application 2. If this is sort of stuff that you want more information on, maybe you want prompts, I don't know, just let me know down in the comments what you actually do want, and I'll see what I can do. Hopefully it's just as simple as adding a new entry into the app list tracker. Maybe I'll expand it with notes from different people. We'll see what goes on. If you want to connect with me directly, if you head over to the About section, there'll be contact information that you can reach out to me on. But if truly you just want to support this little project, just use the sign up link. It'll give me $10 of credits, and that way I'll be able to go a little bit harder into some of these capabilities that at the moment I just don't want to. I just want to spend my $25 a month and see what I can play around with. Anyway, I'm Happy Day. Have a great day.